Before watches graced our wrists, time wasn't a personal possession, it was a shared resource. The rhythm of the day was dictated and announced by the grand town clocks and the resonant chimes of church bells, marking the hours for everyone to hear. These were the original timekeepers, their sounds echoing through the community. Time, in essence, belonged to the community as a whole, not to any single individual. It was a collective understanding, a shared experience that governed daily life. Everyone operated on the same schedule, guided by the same public indicators of time. But as society underwent rapid transformation during the Renaissance and the subsequent Enlightenment, a new desire emerged. People began to crave personal control over their time, a way to manage their schedules independently of the town's clock. The need for individual time management was growing. In response to this growing need, the first portable clocks made their appearance in 16th century Germany, marking a significant shift in how people related to time. These early timepieces were quite bulky, often drum-shaped and designed to be worn on chains around the neck or waist. They were a far cry from the sleek wristwatches we know today. Affectionately known as Nuremberg eggs, these portable clocks quickly became status symbols, indicators of wealth and importance. Owning one demonstrated a certain level of affluence and social standing. However, despite their prestige, these early clocks were notoriously inaccurate, often losing or gaining significant amounts of time each day. Owning one of these timepieces, regardless of its accuracy, signified that your schedule mattered, that you had appointments to keep, and a life to manage according to your own personal timeline. Over the ensuing centuries, these early portable clocks underwent a remarkable transformation, gradually becoming flatter, more refined in their design, and small enough to comfortably fit inside a pocket. And thus, the elegant pocket watch was born, a testament to human ingenuity and the desire for personal timekeeping. For gentlemen of the era, the pocket watch quickly evolved into an essential accessory, a subtle yet powerful mark of sophistication, punctuality, and attention to detail. It was a statement piece reflecting the wearer's commitment to managing their time effectively. Significant innovations, such as the invention and refinement of the balance spring, played a crucial role in making these pocket watches increasingly accurate and reliable. Yet, the use of pocket watches still presented certain limitations. Checking the time required the use of two hands, one to retrieve the watch and another to open its cover, and a momentary pause in whatever activity one was engaged in. While this was perfectly acceptable for leisurely pursuits and social engagements, it proved to be impractical and even cumbersome for individuals who needed to keep their hands free for work or other tasks. Soldiers on the battlefield, athletes competing in sporting events, and the increasingly fast-paced demands of the modern working world all demanded a new and more convenient solution for timekeeping. And so, the stage was set for time to make its next evolutionary leap, transitioning from the confines of the pocket to the readily accessible space of the wrist, poised to be checked with just a quick glance. The story of the wristwatch begins, perhaps surprisingly, with women. The very first wristwatches weren't designed for men at all. They were ornate jeweled creations, conceived more as jewelry than as a functional tool for telling time. These were statement pieces designed to adorn the wrists of fashionable women. Queen Elizabeth I, a trendsetter of her time, received a clock armlet in the 16th century, marking one of the earliest known instances of a timepiece worn on the wrist. And for centuries afterward, wristlets remained largely a feminine accessory, a delicate addition to a ladies' ensemble. Skilled jewelers and meticulous watchmakers dedicated their talents to crafting tiny, elegant movements specifically for aristocratic ladies, creating exquisite pieces that were as much works of art as they were time-telling devices. Esteemed brands like Patek Philippe, known for their innovation and craftsmanship, and the iconic Cartier, with its flair for design, led the way in this burgeoning market, creating wristwatches specifically designed for countesses, queens, and other women of high society. These were symbols of status and refinement. However, for men, the idea of wearing a wristwatch was largely unthinkable. It was seen as frivolous, effeminate, and simply not befitting a gentleman. The pocket watch, carried with a chain and often displayed prominently, was the undisputed mark of masculinity, representing both sophistication and practicality in a man's attire. It was a symbol of responsibility and punctuality. This clear gender divide in timekeeping preferences persisted for quite some time, creating a fascinating social contrast. But the winds of change were stirring, and a global event was on the horizon that would ultimately force a dramatic shift in perceptions. The wristwatch's early history was a story of gradual acceptance and evolution, a slow burn rather than an overnight sensation. It began as a mere novelty, a curious trinket for the wealthy elite, slowly transforming into a genuine possibility for wider adoption. The popularity of women's wristlets, however, undeniably proved that a clock, regardless of its size or complexity, could indeed be comfortably and practically worn on the wrist. The next crucial step in this transformation was proving that the wristwatch belonged on the wrist, not just as an ornament, but as an indispensable and practical tool for everyday life. And that pivotal moment, the catalyst for this change, was rapidly approaching. The wristwatch's turning point came on the battlefield. Military officers needed to coordinate precisely. Fumbling for a pocket watch was dangerous. Soldiers began strapping pocket watches to their wrists with leather. Watchmakers responded, creating robust, legible wristwatches for men. Trench watches featured luminous numerals and sturdy cases. These became essential military gear in World War I. Returning soldiers wore their wristwatches home, erasing the feminine stigma. The wristwatch became a symbol of bravery and modernity. Demand exploded. Watch companies pivoted to civilian markets. Advertisements featured daring men of action with wristwatches. The pocket watch faded. The wristwatch became the definitive timepiece of the 20th century, a tool forged in war, embraced by a new generation. For decades, watches relied on intricate mechanical movements marvels, but delicate and needing winding. In 1969, Seiko's Astron Quartz watch changed everything. Quartz crystals vibrated at precise frequencies powered by batteries. The result: accuracy within seconds per month, not per day. Quartz watches were cheaper, more durable, and maintenance-free. The Swiss watch industry faced a crisis, unable to compete on price or precision. Quartz democratized timekeeping. Anyone could own an accurate watch. The technology spread rapidly, reshaping the industry. Consumers chose convenience and reliability. The watch's purpose was redefined: precision for all, not just the elite. The landscape of watchmaking was forever changed. Quartz technology didn't just revolutionize the inner workings of watches, making them more accurate and affordable. It sparked a complete reimagining of how time could be displayed. The traditional hands sweeping across a dial were no longer the only option. It transformed the display, ushering in an era of glowing numerals and pixelated timekeeping. The world was ready for a new way to read time. In 1972, Hamilton's Pulsar P1 debuted, a watch that looked like it came straight from a science fiction movie. It was marketed as the first all-electronic digital watch, a bold statement that captured the imagination of the public. This wasn't just a new watch, it was a symbol of progress. Glowing red LED numbers appeared at the press of a button, a mesmerizing display that was unlike anything seen before. It was a deliberate act to check the time, a performance in itself. Futuristic, undeniably cool, but power-hungry. The LED display drained batteries quickly, a trade-off for its striking visual appeal. The real breakthrough came with LCD screens, offering a more practical solution for digital timekeeping. Always on, energy efficient, and practical, LCD technology made digital watches truly viable for everyday use. No more pressing buttons just to see the time. Companies like Casio and Timex recognized the potential and jumped into the market, driving down costs and increasing accessibility. They mass-produced affordable LCD watches, putting digital timekeeping within reach of almost everyone. The digital watch revolution was in full swing. Digital watches weren't just about telling time, they added alarms, stopwatches, and calendars, transforming the wrist into a multifunctional tool. They became miniature organizers on the wrist, offering a glimpse into the future of personal technology. For many, a Casio calculator watch with its tiny buttons and surprisingly functional calculator was their first personal tech, a gateway to a world of gadgets and gizmos. It was a symbol of technological empowerment. The digital watch redefined what a watch could be, challenging the traditional notion of timekeeping as a purely analog experience. It was more than just telling time, it was about functionality, convenience, and a sense of being connected to the future. It became a tool, a toy, and a status symbol, reflecting the wearer's embrace of technology and modern style. It was a defining accessory for a new generation, a generation that grew up with computers, video games, and a rapidly changing world. This era laid the groundwork for even smarter devices to come, paving the way for the smartwatches and wearable technology we see today. The wrist was now a platform for innovation, a place where technology could be seamlessly integrated into everyday life. The future was digital, and it was strapped right there on your wrist, ready to change the way you interacted with the world. The Quartz revolution nearly destroyed the Swiss mechanical watch industry. Many historic brands closed and mechanical watches seemed obsolete, but the Swiss fought back by selling art, history, and luxury. The Swatch watch, launched in 1983, revived Swiss fortunes with playful, affordable quartz designs. Meanwhile, luxury brands rebranded mechanical watches as wearable art. They emphasized craftsmanship, heritage, and the beauty of intricate movements. Mechanical watches became statements of taste and tradition. Collectors and enthusiasts fueled a new market for luxury timepieces. Brands like Rolex and Patek Philippe soared in prestige. Complications and artistry replaced mere accuracy. The mechanical watch was reborn, not as a necessity but as an object of desire. It became a symbol of enduring craftsmanship in a digital world. The dream of a watch computer took decades to realize. Early smartwatches in the 1990s and 2000s were clunky and limited. The real breakthrough came with the rise of smartphones. Smartwatches became companion devices, delivering notifications, messages, and more. Pebble and Apple Watch launched a new era, sleek, intuitive, and deeply integrated with our digital lives. Suddenly, a watch could guide you, answer calls, control music, and pay for coffee. Health and fitness tracking became the killer app: heart rate, steps, sleep, even ECGs. The smartwatch transformed the wrist into a hub for wellness and connectivity. It was no longer just about time, it was about managing your life. The wristwatch had evolved again. In 2025, the wristwatch world is more diverse than ever. The wrist is a canvas for both tradition and technology. Mechanical watches offer soul, history, and craftsmanship, objects of permanence in a disposable world. Collecting and admiring them is a global passion. Smartwatches, meanwhile, are tools of efficiency, integrating seamlessly with our digital lives. For millions, they're indispensable companions for health and productivity. Hybrids are emerging. Analog hands over digital displays, or smart tech in classic cases. The best of both worlds is now possible. The evolution of the watch is a tapestry, not a straight line. Past and future coexist on the wrist. In a world where time is everywhere, the wristwatch should be obsolete. Yet more watches are sold today than ever. The wristwatch has transcended its original function. It's a tool for self-expression, a statement of style, taste, and identity. For many, it's the only jewelry they wear. Choosing a watch says something about who you are. Mechanical watches connect us to history and craftsmanship. Smartwatches link us to our health and digital lives. Both offer a tangible presence in an intangible world. The wristwatch endures because it evolves with us. It began as a tool, became a symbol, and now as a companion. Whether powered by springs or processors, it remains deeply personal. The story of the wristwatch is far from over.